So we talked about Medicare Extra For All. Again, not much just changed on this particular story, but we wanted to kind of take the opportunity to update you on other real Medicare for All news because, we are all about that kind of single payer system here on chat for a good reason. It does actually save money and save lives. So Representative Keith Ellison of Michigan has kind of taken the reins on the House bill to expand Medicare for All, along with calling for a maximum wage. So Ellison, along with Pramila Jayapal, sorry about the name pronunciation there, Debbie Dingell, Ro Khanna, and Barbara Lee will form a task force to help work on this bill. So Ellison subsequently stated in an interview that we've got a plan to move out on all fronts and have our members do a tour, have meetings in their districts on single payer. We're working with Bernie, but we believe that this is the issue and that the time for this issue has come. Now we're all staunch advocates of the Affordable Care Act, but we're looking further. We imagine an America where when you get sick, you worry about getting well, not whether you might be in bankruptcy. So we have seen the reception that Senator Sanders has received from his town hall in January on this issue on Medicare for All, and throughout the last few throughout the last few years, when he brings it up in speeches. Okay, so we wish the representatives the best as they can organize events in their own districts and help more Americans kind of understand what Medicare for All is and how it could actually help them and their businesses and how they could benefit from this policy. So last week we reported on the Austin bombings, kind of an impromptu segment, but last Wednesday, Mark Anthony Condit, of 23 of Pflugersville, Texas, actually blew himself up in his car as law enforcement actually closed in on him. In his almost 3-week stretch of terror, he killed 2 people and injured 5. And since then, it was revealed that Condit made a 25-minute confession video in which he was very matter-of-fact and actually showed absolutely no remorse. Shouldn't surprise anybody. That's just what terrorists do. He was caught on surveillance cameras at a FedEx facility wearing a baseball hat and a blonde wig and pink gloves. Authorities used cell phone technology to track Condit down. And so we added a timeline to the bombings as of last Monday. So here's a timeline of these bombings. So on March 2nd, a 39-year-old man, Anthony Stephenhouse, was killed in Northeast Austin when he picked up a box on the front porch. On March 12th at 7:30 a.m. in East Austin, 17-year-old Draylon Mason brought a package inside his home and was opening it in front of his mother when it exploded, killing Draylon and injuring his mother. Later that same day, a 75-year-old Hispanic woman south of downtown Austin is still hospitalized with life-threatening injuries after picking up a package off of her front porch. And on March 18th, which was last night, at 8:30 p.m. Southwest Austin, 2 men in their 20s were hospitalized after the latest blast. So here's kind of what happened after that. So on Tuesday, March 20th, about 12:30 in the morning, a package blew up while traveling along a conveyor belt in the FedEx sorting facility in Shrets, Texas. And so one person at that time was injured, but did not seek hospitalization or did not have need for hospitalization. Then about 6:20 a.m., a suspicious package was found in another FedEx facility, and law enforcement determined that the package contained an explosive device, and then they did intervene in that case, and no one was injured. So Wednesday, March 21st, police tracked down Condit to a hotel in Round Rock and followed him as he got into his car. And he ended up driving down a service road. So Condit stopped his car in a ditch, and that's when the SWAT team advanced. And this is also when he ended up detonating his bomb in his vehicle, which actually ended up killing him and injuring one of the police officers that were involved. So many people are asking kind of why this is not considered a domestic terrorist event. And the answer is given by authorities is that unlike Sapov of the New York truck attack last fall, Condit never said he has involvement in any organized terrorist group. Although you can be a lone terrorist like the Unabomber, they considered him a domestic terrorist, and he wasn't working with an organized terrorist association. So that answer is bullshit. In my southernness, bullshit. So let's go ahead and talk about Russia a bit. So this was in our last segment on Russia. We actually covered this a couple of different times. So our first was when the 13 Russians and their use of social media bots to allegedly sow chaos in 2016 elections and beyond. Well, in this particular update, we'd like to mention another group of social media bots. And this was from a woman who indirectly worked for Hillary's 2016 run, Sally Albright. So a Twitter user at Liking Online looked into suspicious activity after he noticed certain tweets of Sally Albright getting kind of extra attention and being retweeted almost instantaneously. They always seem to retweet certain Twitter users. In defense, recently, Sally tweeted, also, they aren't bots. They are /were just old accounts people weren't using, set up auto retweet to keep them active until someone needed them. I give people old Twitter accounts all the time. Never tried to hide anything. Some of them linked to my website. Not a big secret. Well, it was a big secret to everyone else because nobody that was aware that these weren't actually real people. So no, they were bots. They were once accounts used by real users who for some reason went inactive or died. And so what was using the account? It wasn't an actual real user, it was a bot. So don't give us that bullshit either. Anyways, so this begs the question, what exactly is a bot? Specifically, they are an application that is programmed to perform a task. Like Amazon's Alexa that can order household items at certain intervals or spam a message to social media accounts. They range from malicious, usually with a virus attached, to helpful, like spiders that crawl the internet for new web pages to add to your search. So yeah, Sally, what you were using was bots. And now it appears that a company that sold Miss Albright her bots has updated their policy. So Michael Senato states in a tweet, it is against Buffer's terms of service for anyone to use Buffer to perform any fraudulent activity, including impersonating any person or entity. Accounts that are found violating these terms are suspended by Buffer. We are currently developing a tool that allows us to detect accounts that misuse Buffer so that we can suspend them. We expect this tool to be ready in the next 2 weeks. By the end of this week, Buffer will be updated to no longer allow users to simultaneously post identical or substantially similar content to multiple accounts. This update will prevent a user from selecting more than one Twitter account at a time when composing an update. So I guess this kind of begs the question, what can we do as social media users to help kind of either combat this, or I guess be more aware that this is a thing that happens? So first, obviously, that awareness must take place, that you cannot take anything on your social media as fact, because a lot of these bots had a particular agenda or propaganda that they were trying to push. So we just talked to Beth Lynch a few days ago in a segment last week pertaining to media, social media, and propaganda. And she recommended that we kind of utilize multiple media sources to digest our news and be a little bit more vigilant and aware of where our news sources are coming from. She recommended to go out of the country, go to The Guardian, and from the UK and things like that, so that we can be better purveyors of news. I think that is a must-watch segment for people. She's got a lot of good things to say and a lot of good advice, particularly when it comes to social media and propaganda.
So if you liked this segment, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.